you have questions, please use the raise hand function. If you have a follow-up question, please ask it following your first. Start with Derek Van Diest, Post Media.
Hey, Mike. After such a long layoff, I guess, for a goaltender, what's the toughest thing to get back into that rhythm, getting back to playing?
I don't think any. I think it's been nice to have some rest time. It's been nice to have some good practice time and kind of get a reset and be ready to go tonight. But yeah, it's kind of been a different time in the schedule, obviously, the last couple of weeks and not playing very many games. But I think the only way you let it affect you is mentally kind of letting your guard down. And we feel like we've gained some traction here in these practice times, and it's been valuable this time of year. So hopefully it pays off tonight.
I know Connor the other day said that, it's with all the schedule changes, it's been tough on the team, but it's tough for you guys to feel sorry for yourselves considering everything else is going on. You kind of feel the same way. You just have to roll with the punches and be fortunate in the situation you're in. Yeah,
absolutely. I think we've done a tremendous job to keep, just to be safe and to keep COVID out for the most part. So I think, it shows, the dedication to our team and but in the same sense, I think you see what's going on all around the world and in our league and I mean, realistically, everyone's been through some adversity at some point this season. So it's no time now to, like you said, feel sorry for ourselves because we have some time off. I think it all depends on how you take it, and I think we've really had some good practice time and been able to work on a few things that we've wanted to address all season long, and like I said, hopefully tonight it can pay off in a big way.
Kelly Moore, CJOB.
Hey, Mike, a couple of questions for you here. The first one, and obviously you didn't want to see your last game end the way that it did, but can that sometimes be beneficial with what you guys have just gone through in this last week, that it makes you a little sharper and a little more acute at some of the things that need to be addressed, as you just mentioned?
Honestly, that last game felt like so long ago that it's so far gone in my memory, I don't even really remember what happened. So I just know we lost the game and we didn't play very well, some different circumstances there, but I think, like you just mentioned, I think we've gained a lot of traction here in the last week with, some needed rest time for guys that with little bangs and bruises, and we've gained some great. We've had 3 really good practices this week, so I think those things are valuable this time of year. You don't get much time to get on the ice as a team and to have full practices, so I think it's, like I said, it's a mindset on how you take it. You can take it one of 2 ways. You can kind of woe me and we haven't played in forever and use that as an excuse, or you can say we've gained some valuable time that we've desperately needed on the practice sheet and use it to our advantage and come with a lot of energy tonight.
And the second question, Mike, because these teams are going to play 3 times over the next short little span here and possibly meet again in the playoffs. How unique is that situation, say, compared to seasons gone by? Or have you gone through this before in your career where you're seeing a lot of a likely first-round opponent this close to the start of the postseason?
I mean, I don't think anyone's seen this amount of games against, the same teams as many times we have this year. And so, I mean, you're always playing your division, more than anyone else, obviously, but this year just seems like you're seeing the same teams over and over again. And obviously that makes for competitive hockey and fun hockey to watch and be a part of, and especially going in the most important time of the year.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
Hi, Mike. Just to kind of piggyback off that last question, I mean, you have Winnipeg tonight, some games against Montreal coming up after that, games against teams that you could possibly beat in the playoffs. I'm wondering from a goaltending perspective, like what that means. Does it help you? Do you try to get a book on some of these guys heading into the final stretch, knowing that you might be playing them coming up in an important series?
Yeah, I mean, you always have some sort of a memory on who you're playing and players you're playing against, but to be honest, myself, I just kind of take it one game at a time, and every game's so different. The flow of the game, the power plays, the penalty kills. the chances for and against, or it's every game's so different. So I think I don't look too deeply into it as far as that. I just kind of take it one day at a time, and I've really focused on this year, just controlling what I can control, and that's how I play. And whoever it is, it's the same prep, same goes into it, just another game. So I think it's unique, obviously playing the same teams over and over again. But that being said, it's just another hockey game to be prepared for.
And, as a veteran guy who craves playing in the playoffs, are you starting to see kind of a light at the end of the tunnel here in what's been a bizarre season?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the start of the season, you're only playing 56 games, and then it seems like you hit a time in the schedule where we've only played 8, and I think the last 23 or 24 days, and it's kind of slowed down a little bit for us. But, that being said, like I talked about earlier, I think that can work to our advantage also. So I think it's an exciting time when you're kind of getting down to the 14 games left, into single-digit games, where you're seeing yourselves, envision yourselves being back in the playoffs. And obviously the most exciting time there is in our sport is playing in a playoff game and having a chance to move forward in the playoffs. So I think it's an exciting time for everyone, and it starts with tonight. We want to start building a playoff style of game for our team. The last 14 games to get prepared for the real ones.
Thank you. This concludes Mike Smith's media availability. Please stay tuned for Darnell Nurse. Please use the raise hand function. Start with Derek Van Diest, Post Media.
Hey, Darnell. Just want to ask you about the layoff, and I guess what would be the toughest thing coming back after 6 days off?
6 days off, I think from our perspective, it's, you want to come out here fresh and flying. I think we used it to the best of our ability. I mean, it's different when you're stuck in, we had one where we were stuck somewhere and we couldn't get out. It's different when you're home and you're able to have some type of normalcy with your families and going back and forth from the rink, and then you can adjust your schedule that way. So I think, for us, we used the week really well, practice hard, and we just got to come out and play. There's no thinking. There's a big 14-game stretch here, and we're excited to get it started.
Yeah, a couple of guys have talked about that being different, having the 6 day layoff in Montreal or 6 day layoff here at home. Obviously, mentally, that's a lot easier than it was when you guys were in Montreal sitting in the hotel room all day.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, when you're in your familiar home around your families and dogs and everything, it's you find ways to kill time a lot better than sitting in the hotel room.
Bob Stauffer, 630 Chad.
Morning, Darnell. Just a thought on why the games against the Jets seem to be so entertaining. You and Connor have got some terrific career numbers against the Jets. Is there something about the tempo and the pace that they play with? Is there something with you played with Morrissey in the World Juniors and Connor knows Scheifele. Like, why do you think there's this sort of entertaining engagement that occurs when the two teams play?
Yeah, I think, obviously, if you look at the lineups side by side, there's a lot of firepower on each side, and probably two teams that I would say are trying to play the exact same way, but they play hard. You never have really a clean out when you're trying to get out of your D zone. They're a good team, and I think on paper there's some similarities there. So I find every time we play against each other, they're entertaining and they go right down to the wire. And obviously, anytime you're playing a team that is near the top of the division, there's a little more juice when you get into the game. And it's a team, obviously year in and year out, they have good teams in good spots. And So yeah, for us, I think it's just the team that we get up and play well against, and then they play well against us. So it's a challenge each and every time we play.
Thank you, Darnell.
No problem.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
Morning, Darnell. I know you're a guy who likes to watch a lot of video, but you're playing a couple teams here in Winnipeg and Montreal that you could play in the playoffs. How beneficial is it to somebody like you who has to face these top end guys to get to play them so close to the end of the year?
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial. I mean, this is a unique year where you're only playing within your division, so you see every team a lot, and it's at that point where you're only really between 6 other teams who you're going to play in the playoffs. So it's definitely beneficial to play against teams that you have a good chance of playing in the playoffs. And for us, I don't know, our mindset can't be strictly on this team may play in the playoffs. I think our mindset is more taking care of our own game and making sure that when these 14 games are up, one, we're in a good position going into the playoffs, and two, we feel good about our game. So there's a lot of hockey to be played still, and I think our mindset is more on taking care of our game and what we need to improve and get better coming into this final stretch.
Sure, and I know you're focused on the here and now, but as a team that you've been looking forward to getting back in the playoffs, and there's 14 games left in a weird season like this, are you kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel that these playoffs are coming soon?
Yeah, I think for me personally, there's a lot of hockey still to be played. So it's fun that we're close to the end of the season and we're playing some meaningful hockey. But you can't get content and have your mind shift or your mindset shift to the future. We got a lot of work to do still here.
Final question, Jack Michael, 630 Chad.
Darnell, the last game you played against the Jets, kind of might have been, peak performance this year. I'm wondering, has it been difficult to maintain momentum when you've only had 8 games in 27 days?
Yeah, there's an element of there's an element of adjusting your game. There's an element of, obviously, to that point, I think we had played almost every other day with some 3 to 4 day breaks at some points in there. But from the start of the season to that point, and you kind of get in a flow, and you're not thinking too much. You're just showing up and you're playing. And obviously, when you get into that flow, and then all of a sudden it's derailed a couple times, it feels like there's a sense of maybe you're not in that same flow, like I was just saying, you're not in that same rhythm of playing each and every other night. But for us, that's no excuse. I think, like you said, we're excited about this challenge coming up here with the last 14 games coming up. We've had time to rest, had time to recover guys that have needed it, and guys that are playing heavy loads going into those first 30 odd games. So yeah, now we need to take advantage of the opportunity at hand and use the time that we had off to our advantage.
Thank you. This concludes Darnell Nurse's media availability. Please stay tuned for Dave Tippett. Head coach Dave Tippett. Again, if you have questions, please use the raise hand function. Derek Van Diest, Post Media.
Hey, Dave, after practicing for the last 4 days, do you get a feel of where your team is, what sense, and what do you expect out of them coming out of the gate today?
We seem like we're in good spirits and have energy, so that's how it goes. So we'll go with that. Energy and fresh. So hopefully that we start the game that way.
And, Winnipeg, the games against Winnipeg are always highly entertaining. Is that just because there's just so much skill on both sides of the puck?
I think both teams, the skill is there, but both teams compete hard. They've been tight games, all of them, and not just fun to watch, fun to be involved in, fun for a coach, fun for the players.
Kelly Moore, CGOB.
Hey, good morning, Dave. A couple of questions for you here. First one, coaches loving practice as much as they do. I'm sure you would have loved to have played more than 8 games in 27 days, but how much of this has been an unexpected bonus for you? And do you feel this is really going to pay dividends for the stretch drive and especially the playoffs?
Well, you hope that. We've had some good practice days, and it's funny how it's gone. We prepared for a heavy schedule, and all of a sudden you got a few more days off than you thought you were going to have. But we've had some good practices. It gives you a chance to touch on some structure stuff that you don't get a lot of chance to practice when your schedule's more hectic. So you're getting, we've got 14 games left of a stretch drive here. We've give us a little reset and touch on some of the things how we want to play and hopefully give us the energy to push through the end of the season here.
And going into this game in particular, off a 6-day layoff, what are some of the dynamics to get yourself into the game? As you mentioned, when you're going every other day, it's a little bit different. But for this particular thing, do you just kind of go at it from basic fundamentals? I know that's what the Jets were talking about, to overcome their first game back home off a road trip blues.
Yeah, you got to use your energy. Your team's going to have energy. You just got to use it in a positive way. You got to be smart. We want to come in here and play a solid road game. So, I think the thought of you haven't played in 6 days by about the 6-minute mark of the first period where everybody's in the game, you're not thinking about that anymore. You're just thinking about playing. So we want to come. We want to be real solid. We know that Winnipeg's played well lately, so we got to come in and play a solid game, but make sure we use our energy in the right way.
Daniel Nurse, The Athletic.
Morning, Dave.
Morning.
I'm just curious what the last week's been like for you and your coaches. I mean, have you kind of gone nuts writing everything on napkins and trying out different things? And has it been kind of a stir crazy time for being off this long for a coach?
No, it's been good. We've got some good practice time. We've had, gone through a lot of structure stuff. We've had lots of meetings with players and special teams. So it's been a good time to reset. You don't get those times during the year very often. So we've had a few days to really, delve deeper into some of the things that we want to try to get into with the stretch drive. So we look at that as a positive. Now, that being said, you're ready to play. You want to get playing again.
And I imagine Mike Smith is starting in net. Are there any other kind of lineup changes you can
No, Mike Smith starting tonight.
Okay.
Terry Jones, Post Media.
Dave, you've had a chance to look at the rewritten schedule. What are your thoughts?
Repeat that, Terry?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You're just a little quiet. Can you repeat that?
Yes, I said, Dave, you've had a chance to look at the rewritten schedule. I'm just curious about your thoughts. What do you see?
It's not much different than, you look at it, you go about it, you plan accordingly. We've got the last couple of weeks, we've got 5 games against Vancouver that we're going to be spread out a little bit, but we still got a 4-day break after the Montreal game next week, so that stayed the same. So the last couple of weeks changes and adds an extra week on the schedule, but that's probably needed to get the games in that have been missed. So there's no change in message on how we're going to prepare. It's still 14 games we've got to play from today, and we got to make sure we're keep building our game those 14 games to get a playoff spot, and then make sure we're ready to go in the playoffs.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, this concludes Dave Tippett's media availability.